One brilliant way of making sure that the audience looks at the detail that you want them to look at in a picture is the use of focus. One of my pet hates is I don't like big strobe photography. You see magazine shoots shot with big flash guns and everything in the picture is in focus. And to me, that's a massive shame. It's one of our best tools as a photographer, thrown out the window because now everything's in focus. If it's a really bright sunny day and you're outside, often you can't control that. There's just too much light out there to have a shallower depth of field. But if you are in a situation where a lower light situation where you can command your focus, or with a long enough lens that you can command your focus, I encourage you to do so. The idea of this is that the audience are shown the thing that's sharp and therefore the thing that they want you to look at. But there's also something that we will cover in storytelling and in composition, is that there's a lot you can do with an out of focus picture. I did a portrait of a Holocaust survivor the other day, and he had 4,000 books, mainly about the Holocaust or the rise of fascism or searching for Nazi criminals, but it was all based around this guy's life experiences. So I did a picture of him in front of his books, and he was an amazing bloke, one of only 2 Holocaust survivors to have competed in the Olympic Games, and he was a weightlifter. So I got him to do this sort of triumphant lift, but actually I focused on the books, and you could just see all the books where the eye went to. So you went, oh my God, look at this. So this guy, this is his reading. And even though he was out of focus, you could see everything you needed to of him. So I was telling the audience what extra detail I wanted them to look at. So sometimes it's what's out of focus is as much part of the story as what's in focus. It just, I suppose, gives you, the photographer, the command over where you want people to look. What I just described is what you'd call creative focusing, I guess, which is that you're very deliberately taking the audience to somewhere that wouldn't obviously be the place you would normally focus. Technical focus, on the other hand, is literally leading people to the obvious subject, I would say, which is making sure, if you're very close on a face, I would tend to make sure that the eye is in focus. Sometimes I do shots where you'll find the cheek is in focus and the eyes are a bit soft, and that can sometimes give a slight feeling that the person's on another level. I think historically when we look at portraits of people, we go to their eyes. So if their eyes are out of focus, it sort of can give the impression that maybe their lives are slightly out of focus. There's things you can do with that. I only discovered the other day that when you're editing your photos taken in portrait mode, you can adjust your aperture in the edit. What that means is that if the phone's taken 2 pictures, it's taken a picture of me and it's taken a picture where it's thinking much more about my background, I can control how much of that background is in and out of focus afterwards in the edit. It's brilliant. Bit of homework to do with focus is to just take some pictures where you are using a shallow depth of field. Focus on a part of the image that is not the prominent element of the photo, thereby making your audience look at something that wasn't necessarily the most obvious thing in the frame.